Hi guys, I'm Vanessa, and I thought I would just start doing some videos finally and talking to you a little bit about, well, starting with this one, just a little about myself, so you could meet me and see my face, and also to touch on the events that are coming up this month, March 2023. First, I just want to give a little introduction about who I am. Who's this person who's just spouting astrology to you? And for those of you who don't know me, for starters, I've been full on obsessed with astrology since I was a kid. And when my mother and I would go to the bookstore, which we did a lot for her to look for stuff, whenever we did, I would just go right to the Sydney Omar section. And I don't know if any of you remember Sydney Omar, but back before astrology really exploded and tons of books on the shelves, it was a lot of that guy, and he would just have a book for every sign with daily horoscopes that lasted you all year long. And I just, you know, couldn't get enough of it. And so it's something that I kept up with over the years, but it really wasn't until I'd say about a few years ago when I had a big old Uranus opposition, and some of you know what that is. And let me tell you, it was a doozy, and especially for someone who used to always pride myself on the fact that I'll never have a midlife crisis because I've lived a pretty colorful life. But oh, I sure did. And this Uranus opposition, which midlife transit, by the way, for those who don't know, hit me in the career house, and everything imploded. Everything I was doing for money, for work, it just it all fell apart. The house of cards. And it was tough going through it, but the really good part of that is that it spurred me on to finally just start following my passion, to stop working jobs I hated so much with people who didn't respect me. That was a good thing. And so after all that came about, I started doing my deep dive into astrology all in, and I studied with Rebecca Gordon. She's based in New York, and she is such a fantastic teacher, and she's so knowledgeable and so great. And so I learned a lot there, and of course I've had many other teachers along the way. And the beautiful thing about astrology is that this is clearly, it's a lifelong process of learning, which is great for my Gemini brain, because we always love to keep learning new things. And it's like you go down one rabbit hole with this, it takes you down another rabbit hole and another rabbit hole, and so you just keep going. Some things I like to focus on in astrology, although I will talk about it all and do it all, but number one obsession of mine is 12th house planets. Why? Because I have a 12th house stellium. I'm happy to go into 12th house things another time, but basically it's just, for me, learning about my 12th house, Mercury, Mars, and Saturn, was a game changer, and it really opened my eyes to why I do the things I do and who I am. And that pretty much is what I want to do for you guys. And mind you, this is coming from someone, I have a background in psychology from university, and so I love bringing that elements a little bit into astrology, because I truly believe with all my heart that astrology is just one of the greatest gifts and tools for self-discovery, for understanding why we do the things we do, why we're hardwired the way we are. And it's life changing, and it's transforming, and it allows you, once you're consciously aware of these things, to transform your own behavior and the world around you. So basically, anyone who does a reading with me, that's what we focus on. We just get in there and just I show you yourself, and then you can take it from there. And it's a beautiful thing. So enough about me. Let's dive in and talk about March, because let me tell you right off the bat, this is a stacked month, literally a stacked month, because we have all the planets and even the asteroids all huddled in one corner of the chart together. So that's really intense. That's in focus, a huge focus of a lot of energy. And in this case, it's primarily spanning the signs of Pisces and Aries. So what is that? Endings and beginnings, right? It's almost like we're wrapping up, I think, both collectively and individually, some big cycles here. There's been a lot that we've learned and a lot of growth, certainly in the last couple years or so. and since 2020 anyway. And I feel that we're now wrapping it up, and we're getting it ready, pulling what we need from that, and getting ready for when we go into Aries full gusto, so that we can just take action these things that we've learned and want to carry further. Okay, March 2nd, circle that day, because that is going to be, and that's tomorrow if you're in North America, and that is when Venus meets Jupiter in the sign of Aries in the sky. And already, I'll tell you, if you look outside, I would encourage all of you to get outside tonight, take a look at the sky. My partner and I were looking at the sky last night, and he was like, look, there's Jupiter and Venus. And I was just like, where? We've been watching them every night, right? But he's like, no, they look like flying saucers. And they did. They were just these big orbs of light, and they looked insane. And I feel like, tonight and gearing up to that meeting tomorrow, we're in for quite a show. What does that mean? Well, Venus Aries is kind of just blazes through, and she knows what she wants. She has quite a bit of sass and bite, and she goes for it. She's like, this, I want this. And Jupiter in Aries kind of fans those flames, gets really excited, is kind of like, the hype man is just like, you're excited, I'm excited, we're all excited, let's make this thing happen, and gives that feeling of these things you want, or that one thing is right within your grasp. So it's a really magical day. We'll probably all be feeling a little bit like superheroes, like, we can tackle it all. But then that's not the only thing happening that day. We also have on the same day, March 2nd, we have Saturn and Mercury in the final degree, what we call the anaretic degree, at 29 degrees of Aquarius. Of course, Saturn in Aquarius, the better part of the past 3 years, that's been teaching us quite a lot. Saturn is a teacher and will teach us something in every sign. He spends about 2.5 years per sign. And Aquarius, of course, represents our freedoms, our rights, the collective, among other things. And, well, we sure did learn a lot about that through a global pandemic that forced a lot of lockdowns upon us. So I know we were not able to travel, at all, or it was very limited. We weren't able, many of us, to see our loved ones, and so that was tough. But on the other hand, what did that push us to do? Well, we sure learned a lot about our neighbors and our friends and who we can rely on, and the importance and the power of coming together and working together as a whole, because we really saw how one person's actions just can affect a whole group of people, for good or for ill. So it's your choice, right? We're going to be seeing more where that comes from, rather, when Saturn moves into Pisces next, because Pisces, for one, is another one that, in a different way, I'd say, than Aquarius, but Saturn is also very aware of our connection to one another, because Pisces is all about, we're all one love, all those beautiful things. Pisces is very beautiful, but every sign has its challenges, I'll say. And with Pisces, sometimes with those two fish swimming against each other in the current, you can lose focus. But what's beautiful about Saturn and Pisces is that Saturn brings the focus in, and Saturn often gets a bad rap. People, think Saturn's the big old buzzkill, because it, lockdowns, restrictions, limits. Saturn tests our limits, but also Saturn ultimately brings structure. Saturn is bringing greater structure and stability to our lives, and also getting us to adult, greater responsibility. And so with Saturn in Pisces, Saturn wants to bring form and structure to Piscean things like intuition, the arts. Straight up, if you are in the arts, and that can be creative arts, whether you're a maker and a creator, or you're in the healing arts, this is going to be a really great couple of years for your practice, whatever that looks like, to really take it to the next level, to give it some discipline and structure, and make it successful if that's what you're going for. So that's really great. Also too, it's going to be a really great time to mull over, if you haven't already been, from the past couple of years, what kind of world do I want to live in, both personally, and also what kind of world do I want to see around me, out there at large. So, really think about that, because whatever dream you have, it doesn't have to be a pie in the sky kind of dream, because Saturn is here to help us take these dreams and all these things that are swimming around kind of ethereal, very Pisces in the ether, and bring it down to earth, make it manifest in the real world. And that's so exciting. So, these are just some things to look forward to with the big shift coming. Saturn is moving into Pisces on March 7th. I'm going to come back to that in just one sec. But we also have real quick Mercury on March 2nd, when these other conjunctions are taking place. Mercury, after it has its little wrap up, because it will be huddling with Saturn, having conversation, just kind of wrapping up, final review of all the course material of Saturn in Aquarius of the last couple years or so. And then we'll be speeding right on that same day into Pisces, so some things about that, because you have Venus in Aries, which I'm sorry, I'm just going to say, it's kind of like she's queen of the one night stands, just thinks about it later and maybe has that walk of shame. But then you have Saturn saying, well, hey, let's make, I'm talking to you, Mercury, let's make these connections, because Mercury is also a planet of connecting and bonding. Let's take these connections and let's make them something long lasting. And then you have Mercury diving into the heart space of Pisces and being like, let's bring the heart into this. So a lot of beautiful energy, a lot of potential for a lot of good stuff to happen. Back to the 7th real quick. I pretty much covered what I want to cover right now, Saturn in Pisces. But what's amazing too about that day is, because another facet of Saturn in Pisces is, try to cultivate your spiritual practice, whether it's meditation, whether it's stream of consciousness writing, whether it's prayer, whether it's some kind of ritual that helps you tap into your thoughts, quiet the monkey mind, and tap into a higher consciousness, and that's where often you get so many great inspirations and ideas. Saturn in Pisces also facilitates over the next couple years or so getting that down pat. So what's perfect about March 7th is we also have a full moon in Virgo, and that's great, because Virgo is all about routine and all about precision and doing the 10,000 hours of mastery, and let's get this, make this a thing, and put in the daily work for it. So also too, of course, full moons are release, time of release. And what is fantastic is, like, Virgo loves to purge and, loves to Marie Kondo the hell out of everything. And so Virgo full moon, especially in conjunction with Saturn and Pisces, that's really helping us trim the fat. It's really helping us to get clear about our vision. Everything I just talked about. What's your vision? What ideal, little paradise, little Garden of Eden in your corner of the world do you want to create? And this Virgo full moon will help you see the light with that, hopefully a little bit, and be like, this is all the stuff that needs to go that's not necessary, because Virgo loves to dilute and purify and bring it down, simplify, streamline. So hopefully you'll get some good intel and be able to trim the unnecessary things that are a little distracting and just get down to that vision. Okay. Then we have new moon in Aries on March 21st, which is also the vernal equinox, which, and this is a new moon upon a new moon, because it's at 0 degrees of Aries. So that's a real new beginning. You want clean slate, you got it. It's the beginning of the zodiac astrological celestial new year. So just like you would in the other new year, just make your intentions or intention, set that intention. Do not sleep on this moon, because this can set the tone for your whole next 12-month cycle. Really the star event of this month, and I would even say of the year, of the decade, of the next couple of decades, it's Pluto finally changing signs. So I'm sure you've all been hearing all the buzz out there that, ooh, Pluto's moving into Aquarius. So what does that mean? Well, Pluto in Aquarius, first of all, if you ask a lot of astrologers, they're going to tell you this is the start of the age of Aquarius for real. I hate to break it to some people, but it wasn't the 60s or the musical Hair. It's now. And that's really exciting, because we're here to help be a part of that and to facilitate, all this transformation that's about to take place. So real quick about Pluto. Pluto is for a tiny planet, but a potent one. He packs a punch. I'm sure any of you who have already been through a Pluto transit can attest to this. Pluto can be a little gnarly and intimidating to some, but again, I'm just going to say, please do not fear any planet. The planets sounds. I know it might sound kind of corny, like an episode of Sesame Street, but it's true. The planets are our friends, and they're there to support, and especially the ones that ride us the hardest are there to help us, because it's like that teacher, that stern loving parent, that's they see your potential, they're doing it for your own good. No, I'm sorry I have to ground you, but it is for your own good, that kind of thing. That's Pluto and Saturn too. But Pluto basically has a purpose, just like the rest of the planets, and Pluto's purpose is to help move us past our own BS, to live the most authentic lives we can, to reclaim our power and our agency, and to transform, to fulfill our purpose in this life. And a large part of that purpose is growth. Okay, so Pluto will come in like a wrecking ball and will just eliminate, destroy, scorched earth sometimes, the things that are hindering you, and the things or the people, places, circumstances in your life that are getting in the way of you achieving this. And it, again, if sometimes if some of you guys have had a Pluto transit and it's a bit of a rough ride, it's not because you deserve it. It's not because you're a bad person or you have bad karma. It's just, think of it like one of those things. I've always explained this over the years to even my friends giving advice. It's like, you're going the wrong way. It's kind of like that sign, you're going the wrong way, and so the universe sends a cosmic 2x4 because you're not paying attention or you're not listening, and it's like, okay, now you're going to go the right way, and whether you like it or not, so we're going to get you there. So Pluto has been in Capricorn since 2008. Capricorn represents, first of all, institutions. Like, we have our banking, financial institutions, governments, education, anything with a top to bottom system, kind of, hierarchy, patriarchal systems, that is Capricorn. So Pluto in Capricorn has shown us so much of the corruption in these institutions, and with Me Too, with the banks, with government, and just really, it's kind of exposing the emperor has no clothes, and it's been opening eyes for a lot of people. Pluto's like, no, these systems don't serve anybody. They're archaic, they're prehistoric, they need to go. Okay. Look what happened when Pluto switched into Capricorn in 2008. Look what happened in the financial world, and the bottom just fell right out, right? And it's just gone from there. So Pluto's now leaving Capricorn and moving into Aquarius, and is going to be transforming the realms of technology. First of all, technology, because God knows, we're still babies with it, and look how much we rely on it. So we're going to be having to look at both the good and bad of that, and we've already been seeing some of that with the AI stuff that's been popping up, in the last little bit. Also, to Aquarian themes of social justice, civil rights, including feminism, as well as racial inequality, climate activism, our freedoms, our rights. And Aquarius is a sign of rebellion, and governed by Uranus, and so a lot of that tends to come into play. But a lot of changes can be made. I think part of Pluto in Aquarius's purpose is also redistribution of power, greater democracy, and finally, let's take things out of the hands of a few, of the 1%, and let's put it into the hands of everybody, and showing us that this world only works when everybody can enjoy the same freedoms and the same rights. Okay, so this is all exciting. That's just my cap. I'm not going to go deep into it right now, but it's huge, and I'm very excited for it. Okay, and then the final event, just a couple days after Pluto changes sign, we are also going to have Mars changing signs, and that's kind of a big deal as well, even though Mars, is a faster moving planet and only spends typically a couple months or so in a sign. But because of going retrograde this year, he's been in Gemini for the last 7 months. And so that energy, Mars is the action planet, and we've all been taking action based on curiosity and acting in ideas and, speaking up a lot of voices, going at once in the room, and a lot of ideas, a lot of monkey minds. And then suddenly, this shift into Cancer, it will be an adjustment because all of a sudden, we're going to be taking action based on how something makes us feel inside. So going from the intellect back into the heart space. And I'm going to stop there because this has already been a lot. I'm sure it's a lot to process, and I'll explain, in greater detail as we go. So, my lovelies, all I'm going to say for now is I hope you have a beautiful March, and I will talk to you soon. Okay, bye.